have a question. You're talking about minorities in public school. You're also talking about the fact that there are few minority students that graduate.
Fewer, yeah.
You're also making the assumption that minorities that don't graduate don't come prepared to do the work that they need to do. Is that right? Is that the assumption that you're making? So your group would be a perfect example, right?
Ooh.
No? Excuse me, they're responding to my question.
Okay,
go ahead.
I feel that it's not saying that they're not prepared, it's just they come to school and teachers may not pay as much attention to them because there's more of them. They feel like maybe they just will understand from them teaching, and if they need help and having difficulty, they don't reach a hand out to help them more. So they struggle because they can't understand helping at home, so they come to school, don't want to ask questions because, I mean, a lot of students don't like to ask questions in class. They have to be nervous, and so they just kind of sit in the back.
Anybody want to help out?
I feel as if maybe we didn't put it in the presentation, but a lot of students in public schools have other things that they put over school, like some may need to help out in the household. So, I mean, you usually see that more with minorities, not more with majorities, but like a lot of like men, I know, have to help their mothers out because their fathers aren't in the home, so they feel as if they need to step up and help out in the house. So they don't take school as serious. They may work 2 or 3 jobs to help out with bills. So that may be a case.
Okay, we don't know. You know, it may be a case, but you know what really would highlight the existence of cases like that if we had some statistical information or studies pointing us toward that direction, right? Okay.
You want some input?
It's all based on stats, basically.
Yes, some input. What's your input?
I was going to say, minorities' parents, they might not stress the importance of education enough, but maybe they didn't get a proper education, you know, and took their education further than high school, so they basing their education off their parents.
But those are the ones that want their kids to do something. The people the parents that didn't go far, they want their kids to do better than they did.
Yeah, because somebody's saying that no, it might be something different, right?
I mean, yeah,
it could go either way.
Yeah.
You feel it? Yeah. All right. And you're making a point that he just repeated earlier.
Going towards what he was saying, but that's what I say, right?
Okay. All right, that's fine. You know, it was a little misunderstanding. Okay. All right. Any other suggestions or any other questions or continuing presentation from this group?
I read an article called Audience Matters, and it was about how there is no minority literature being taught in school, in public schools. And I know that from when I was in private school, we read a book called Huckleberry Finn, and that was about a boy, and he was friends with a black slave, and that was looked down upon. And I know that in public schools, they read a lot of the same books, but they don't really attack the stigma that in all the stereotypes that are like in our history of slave times and minorities just in the media and everything. Like in my private school we did that, but in public school I talk to my friends and they don't learn a lot of the same things. They grasp over it, but they don't go into depth about it. And talked a lot about white domination over white privilege. You shouldn't teach white privilege because it's not a privilege to be white. You are born that way. It's not a privilege to be black. You are born that way. Everyone's born to be who they're supposed to be. So white denomination, which kind of, I don't believe in. I think that everyone should be equal, but there is a white denomination, but now we have a black president, so things have changed. So I think we're leaning more towards equality and less towards white denomination.
Are you saying that it was a concept or something that was taught in your school, or you were aware of other schools that this was done?
A concept in my school? No, in my school it was more like race didn't really talk so much, and racism wasn't really talked about because we had a lot of minority students in my school. We didn't really want to offend anyone, but people gave speeches about it and things like that when they wanted to talk about it for themselves, but in the classroom, not really. And my friends who did go to public school, they just didn't talk about it at all because the minorities were over the majority. And they felt like maybe the whites maybe would feel offended from always talking about racism and things like that because they are the minority.
So, was it something that was being talked about in this article?
Yes.
have another question. Statistically, you're saying that minorities cannot excel. Statistically, we're not supposed to have the ability to excel. I'll give you one example. I know personally of a lady who has a 7th grade education. She started 3 major businesses. And she makes lots and lots of money with a 7th grade education. She also taught her 5 children that education was important. That regardless of you don't see yourself in the material in elementary, junior high, or high school, you should still excel. So, what you're telling me, if I'm understanding from your presentation, that statistically we're all supposed to fit in that category and not be able to excel.
No.
Is that right?
The times are different. Even back in, I don't know how old that lady is, but you can survive off making $20,000 a year. You can't do that nowadays. Everything's going up. So I don't know how old she is. I'm just saying, more people that drop out, they make less than people who further their education and get a higher paying job.
That's true. So, I'm still asking, we're talking about education in USA. I did my thesis on education in USA. It's called The Miseducation of the African American Male. So I know your stats. I know what you're talking about. What I'm asking you, what is the point of your presentation?
Minorities,
How minorities don't really further their education, how, Black and Hispanic dropout rates, and, they're higher than any other race.
I got that. As I said, statistically, I know what you're talking about. That's what I wrote my thesis on. I'm still asking you, and I'm asking the audience, do you understand what the presentation was about?
Yes.
Yes.
What was it about?
It was bringing awareness of minorities in education. They're basically telling us that we need to understand that education is important in this life so you can succeed and be successful in this life right now. And as African Americans, which most of us are, we need to understand that if we don't believe in our education, who else is going to? And if we don't further our education, we won't be able to live in this society.
Right, so it's about achievement gap, right? That still in the society we have an achievement gap between minority students and majority, which is the white population.
Yes, sir.
One point before you make that. I saw you clapping when she articulated your point. Why weren't you able to do it?
because she was listening to what we were saying.
But you presented it.